Once again, hello everybody and welcome back to Mechabellum. So, what do spider starts feel like for you? For me, it feels like every time I go for spiders, the opponent has Stormcallers. This ain't working out, is basically my default state. Sorry, I touched the microphone there. Not sure if you were able to hear it. Yeah. Uh, and every time, or rather, the worst case scenario is, well, I have a meme ready for that. Basically, you pick the 4 Spiders of Doom start, and then you find out your opponent has Stormcallers and Orange Man, and you're gonna have a bad time. Oh well. This time there's no Orange Man on the side of my opponent, but Stormcallers will get the job done just as well. However, fortunately there is no upshoot, so the Phoenixes should be doing well, and I'm basically round 1 into Phoenix Spider. Phoenix Spider, I think, is a fairly good unit composition. The Spiders can clear chaff effectively, and the Phoenixes hit for a lot of damage. And even if you range the Spiders, they are still going to have less range than the Phoenixes by 5 meters. Although, in my experience, the Phoenixes have a tendency to move up and will definitely start hitting or being hit by opposing units because they are just a lot faster than the Spiders. But also not that much. You throw mech rage on this and it's 12 meters per second against 16. So it's not all that significant. Anyway, let's speed this one up. So for the first few rounds we are not going to see much happening here. Not a lot of stuff. But I promise you that this game is going to get pretty wild. My brain is always afraid of this card because Vulcans are a thing. I would love to turn this one into improved sledge off. But I'm kind of going for the shield and also kind of immediately regretting it against an opponent that has Stormcallers. Well, we're gonna see what the shield does here. I should also now, we have the time, go into a tiny bit of a warning. As many other players, I am currently salty about Vulcans being sort of the one-stop, one-shop, all solution for solving the problems of ground units. Big ground units, small ground units, lots of chaff, lots of everything. Just throw enough Vulcans with Scorch and Range out, and if you get ER Vulcans, it's gonna be even worse, and you will simply tear absolutely every army apart if you have some decent single target DPS behind it. So that you can't get killed by overlords, of course. The Vulcans with Ignite are well capable of killing everything on the ground as well, even giants. Oh well. So if you don't want to hear more Vulcan Salt, this is your official warning to shut the video down and go watch something else instead. However, if you're along for being a bit salty about Vulcans and being a lot of salty about players who only know how to play the meta and fairly little things else, then you are very much welcome to stay. So, round 2 starts. My opponent has chosen Marksman as a counter to my Phoenixes. I added more Phoenixes and some more chaff. I think this is just fairly standard playing right now. And we are going to see what these shields accomplish. My opponent's Stormcallers are definitely good, but my Phoenixes also don't have small amounts of DPS. They do fairly well, even into shields. I wish these Phoenixes had leveled last round. Unfortunately, they did just not level. Let's see if they level this round. So they take out an Arclight. Unfortunately, they trade fairly poorly into the Phoenixes and don't level. These Phoenixes, well, this Phoenix is still alive and it's eating Stormcallers that are hitting the shield for a lot of damage. Tower goes down at what I want to say is a pretty bad moment. My Phoenix could have been hitting this tower for a while, but there realistically is no chance for it to win. It does, however, get a lot of XP and levels before it gets taken out by the Marksman, because the Stormcallers were shielding the Marksman. Evil Stormcallers. Improved War Factory, Tech Spec, Barrier, Underground Threat. Yeah, I like Underground Threat, especially when my opponent's board is kinda really open. He has nothing yet on the side. I decide to throw him on my stronger side here. I level the Phoenixes. Having leveled Phoenixes is probably a good idea. And I drop more Spiders. I don't put them at the front line this time. I'm putting them somewhat further back, because I'm thinking about defending against the potential crawler spawn. In this position, they should easily just turn around and get the job done. The same thing, I guess, is true for this Arclight. I don't know why my opponent added this Arclight here. Maybe he was just thinking that crawlers could be coming out on this side. He does not defend against crawlers here, not even with this spawn. I think the correct play, if you're going for a defensive crawler spawn, is throw them wherever you don't have already enough defense. In the middle, he has some crawlers, and the stormcrawlers will just turn around and splash all the crawlers. Here he has the arclight, so I think they should have been here. The arclight does turn around, and that alone is going to be enough to defend against these crawlers, along with the other units that are running to the defense. I guess I didn't really know, but apparently crawlers in the middle will still, for the majority at least, go and help defend. I didn't know about that. Maybe he's doing something right here. Maybe I would need to test that, how it works. Anyhow, he has delayed chaff on the side with my phoenixes, which means that the phoenixes aren't going to do much because they are stuck on chaff for too long. And by the time that they are unstuck on chaff, the marksman will just kill them. On this side, as usual, the stormcrawlers win it. Alright, we have rhinos. My opponent already has one level 2 rhino, but he's not picking the triple rhino attack. Instead, he sticks with this one rhino and goes for mustangs. I, in a few moments, am going to do the same. He instantly put range on him, and, well, I do literally the same. Even our positions are somewhat similar. He seems to enjoy them a bit further on the outside. I like them a bit further forward and central. That helps against potential wasps coming out. If you have your units like here, there still is enough space in the middle for some wasps to potentially do some damage, although I'm pretty sure it would defend anyway. It's just that they're pulled, and this way there still is some units going forward. This rhino here is going to pull basically 90% of my units to the flank. There is one level 2 spider, which can potentially hold out the fort, but I'm up against scaling marksmen, and stormcrawlers, and some arclights and mustangs for chaff clear. And my opponent has a healthy amount of chaff on the board, so by all means, I think he's ahead here. That said, I'm not behind. This way, like, if there was a central spawn of wasps, these mustangs would still defend, even if there is something in the flank. That's why I think this positioning is fairly good. This rhino gets crushed. Not unexpected. The tarantula is doing all it can. Like, this thing is right now living a life of killing small stuff. Now the mustangs have come in to help, and mustangs are actually turning this around for me quite well. Some of my phoenixes have run ahead and got targeted by the mustangs, but at the end of the day, they are now kinda still here. And they've killed Orange Man, the not spawned Orange Man. And on the other side, I was about to say wasp again, the squad of spiders and mustangs is enough to win the round for me. And they instantly level. We can already see the XP bonus from the rhino, tipping them over to level 3. More crawlers spawning, but I don't see much value in crawler spawn here. Even if I spawn them here, the arclight's probably going to turn around again, and these mustangs will take care of everything else. So I rather go with a heavy unit here, pick the super heavy armor, throw it on the tarantula, and ride a really, really big spider into battle. That has to be something epic, right? He goes into range on the arclights. I guess he kind of wants to counter these mustangs with it. And he has absolute reason to, because I just picked more mustangs. I don't even mind that rhino so much. As DPS here grows, it'll only die quicker and give more and more experience points to these mustangs. More defensive crawler spawning. I don't even think you need it, but I guess it's $100, so why don't you? There's really not a huge reason not to, in a way. Well, we'll see. More units being spawned, more marksmen apparently. Yeah, he's enjoying the marksman life. It's good to counter the spiders, unless the spiders are too big already. These units can absolutely once again crush the rhino, and you can already see a good amount of experience points on these units. It is definitely helping. This spider is enough to hold down the fort until the reinforcements get here. It is losing health rapidly, but it also is just absolutely tanking. It's 250% the normal amount of health. However, my opponent's investment into Arclight is definitely doing a good job here. These Arclights are leveling and they are farming my poor little units here. The last Spider Force, the Arclights are putting in the work, and gone is my army. This is a lot more damage than in the previous rounds. Previously I was attrition to death, now I'm actually being killed. Assault Scorpion, potentially, but this board is kinda countering Scorpions everywhere. So instead I decide to go for another item, make the Spider here. Unfortunately my opponent goes into a level on this Stormcaller. Actually he did before already. But I kinda wanted to throw it on a stronger Spire. I think in retrospect I kinda kicked myself for not putting it on one of these Spiders. Like here it could potentially have accomplished more, but at the same time there is, I wanna say Red Man. Because 4 and above, I think, are red numbers. So let's call level 4 marksman the red man. Yeah. So technically the color here doesn't change. So it is still an orange man, more or less. It's just that the level is nice and red. Anyway, with the additional DPS, especially of the spider mines, this rhino is only going to get crushed faster and faster and giving me more and more XP. These Mustangs can almost level. These have a quarter progress. Meanwhile, these Mustangs don't have all that much. They have recently leveled. Spider mine's hopefully going to do a good amount of work here. Once again, the Giga Spider, along with the Mustangs, is trying to hold down the fort. But there's now, well, there has been before as well, but there's going to be an ever-increasing amount of DPS here. That said, I am clearing out stuff fairly effectively on this side. The big question is going to be, can I weather the storm of the Arclights and the Stormcallers, like the literal storm? I have more spiders, more spider mines moving in. The Tarantula with the item, I was definitely intending on putting it as far back as possible, because as enemy DPS goes down, it's only going to get better. But this DPS is the last to go down. At the end of the day, it doesn't work out. My opponent's units level once again, and my army is being taken out again. Still not as much damage, I think, as last round. But I'm kinda going down to critical amounts of damage where I'm definitely in one bad round away. And this is where the meta plays begin.